So today, as part of custom charts in Tableau, we'll try to go through a few charts like funnel charts, donut charts, statistical control charts, and waterfall charts, diverging bar charts. So these are the 5 charts that I plan to cover as a part of this webinar. We will start off with the simplest of these, which is called as the funnel chart. Now we know that there are 24 charts that we can directly create with just by selecting the appropriate measures and dimensions, and then a single click on the show me panel will give us these 24 charts. And apart from the 24 charts that come up as templates here, we can also create a lot of other charts in Tableau. These charts which we create by manipulating the existing charts or by using some techniques in Tableau are custom charts apart from the 24 that we have. So whatever 5 charts I told you about just now do not come under the show me panel. They are not something that you can directly create with 1 or 2 clicks from the show me panel. Okay, there's something that you will have to uh, manipulate things a little and then create them. So the first type of chart that we'll be looking at is the funnel chart. This is what a funnel chart would look like. Okay, at least in Tableau we can create charts like this. And scenarios where we go ahead and use a funnel chart is when you have different stages in a process like a cycle, and you want to see how the members or how the data is varying from one cycle to another. You can take the example of an interview cycle, interview process. So let us say they are not every person, the first stage in the interview, of course, is going to be the written test. So not everybody who attempts the written test would clear and move on to the next round, right? So you have different stages there. So let us say this is the number of people, this funnel, okay, very wide here. It's indicating the number of participants who took the written test. Not everyone who takes the written test will move on to the technical round. So let us say these are the number of people who manage to move to the technical round. Not everyone who attend the first technical round move on to the second technical round. Not everyone who clears that will move on to, you know, not everyone who attends it will be able to clear it and then move on to the HR round. And not everyone who is facing the HR round will be given the offer letter. Not everyone who receives the offer letter will accept it and join the organization. So these are different stages in that interview cycle, and you can see how the candidates are going to flow through that cycle. Okay, how they are going to pass through the cycle and how they're getting filtered out. Another example of this would be a sales funnel. So, okay, if you're dealing with the number of candidates through an interview cycle, it would be called an interview funnel. If you're dealing with the sales, then that would be called as a sales funnel. Okay. If you take the sales funnel, what are the things we can think of? You can take Tableau website, for instance. Not everybody who visits Tableau website is going to download the trial version of Tableau desktop, which we get for 14 days. And not every person who has explored the tool by downloading the trial version would be interested and uh, want to purchase the license for it and would request for further information from the website. Not everyone who requests for the information or who wants to purchase will actually go ahead and purchase it, will be given the license. So not everyone who has purchased the license and used it for a year would want to renew their license at a later point of time. Every year the license has to be renewed for Tableau, right? So basically, whenever you have a cycle and different stages in a cycle, and how you would like to see how the number of prospects, so these candidates in an interview cycle or people who are visiting a website, you can call them as prospects. Okay, so not these number of prospects, how are they varying from one stage to another stage in the cycle is shown very clearly through a funnel chart. So that's the reason why funnel charts are very famous in Tableau. But we cannot really create a very smooth and great funnel in Tableau, but to some extent we can manage to create a funnel chart. How is it done? We will look at it first. For that, I'm using a customized data source. I'll show you the data. All these workbooks which we create during today's webinar, during the session today, will be shared with you after the session along with the class recording. So you don't have to worry about the data sources or the visualizations and all. They will be shared with you. Okay. Here we have different phases in a sales cycle. Okay. So how many website hits were there, and out of the people who have actually reached the website, who looked at the website, how many of them contacted the sales team, let us say, or how many of them downloaded the trial version or the content, how many of them liked the content and they contacted the sales team. Okay, and to how many of them quotation was sent, and how many of them finally ended up purchasing the product that was being sold on that website. This is the cycle I was talking about, different phases in the cycle and number of prospects in each cycle. So here we have it. Okay, phase, representative, two different sales representatives are doing it, number of prospects. Now we know these are the fields coming from the data source, and there is one calculated field if you notice here. So we know that we can distinguish calculated fields from the fields coming from the data source by looking at that equal to sign which is prefixed to the data type. So here the data type is numeric and it is prefixed with an equal to sign telling us that this is a calculated field. There are two types of funnels that we can create in Tableau. We have the basic funnel which looks like this, and then you can try to create a slightly more smoother funnel which will look like this. So basic funnel is created by manipulating stacked bar chart. This is nothing but a stacked bar chart when we're trying to manipulate the size. Similarly, smooth funnel chart is created by manipulating area chart in Tableau. Okay, this can be created by manipulating the area chart. So let's go ahead. I'll just recreate those visualizations. To create a funnel chart, you can take number of prospects, the measure, and drop it on the row shelf. So you will get a column bar because it is on the row shelf, which means it will align itself along the y-axis and we have a column bar. Now I would like to break down this total number of prospects depending on the phase to which they belong. Okay. So to convert this bar chart into a stacked bar chart, you just have to decide on how to break it down, right? How do you create the stacks and move that to the color shelf? So let's drag and drop phase to the color shelf. This will give you your stacked bar chart talking about the number of prospects across different phases. Here, to convert this to a funnel chart, you have to sort the data in descending order. That is a mandatory step because we need to have the phase with the maximum value at the top, and then it gets filtered out and final result. So we will have the data sorted in descending order. Now it's all about how we convert this to a funnel chart. Any ideas what we can do here to convert this into a funnel chart? You just take number of prospects, okay, and put it on the color shelf, on the size shelf. So we are controlling the size, which means we're controlling the width of the funnel of each and every bar that is there in that stacked bar. Okay, just change the view here, change the view to entire view so that it spreads across nicely and occupies the entire space. This is a basic funnel chart and how we create it in Tableau. Now you can, of course, label it, right? You can take phase to the label shelf. You can take number of prospects to the label shelf and provide additional information, labeling information. Okay, yeah, that's about basic funnel chart that you can do. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we can slightly smoothen it and create a smooth funnel chart rather than creating something like this. So for a smooth funnel chart, as I told you, we will be manipulating area chart. I'll take phase to the row shelf, number of prospects to the column shelf. So I have my bars, a simple horizontal bar chart, which has to be sorted in descending order, of course. The moment you say funnel chart, you should have that shape. So it has to be sorted in descending order. Now this bar chart that we're looking at, let us go ahead and convert that into an area chart. Now you cannot change the entire chart itself to area chart because what is the mandatory requirement to create a line chart or an area chart is that there has to be a date field on the view. But here I don't have a date field on the view, so I cannot have area chart. However, we can convert these horizontal bars into area chart by changing the mark type. So mark type is different, chart type is different. Let us change the mark type to area. Though show me says me that it is not possible to create an area chart because we don't have a date field, I have somehow manipulated my chart to become an area chart by changing the mark type to area. So mark types, they come in very handy. Now let us just make sure that it occupies the entire space given to it. We have one half of the funnel here. One symmetrical half of the funnel is what I have. Now the only step left out to do is to create the other symmetrical half or mirror image of this funnel. Any thoughts on how I can get the other symmetrical half of this funnel? So clearly it is half of the funnel, right? I need to get the other half of the funnel, more or less the mirror image of this funnel. Okay, and okay, that could be an option. But when you say dual axis, what will happen is, suppose I take revert the direction, correct? Okay, so basically I just need a mirror image of this funnel. So create a calculated field, which will give you the negative number of prospects. So just prefix your number of prospects calculated field with a minus sign. So you get negative number of prospects. Now all you have to do is take that and place it before the positive number of prospects. If you place it there, then you get it the other way around. So just take it and place it in the front, negative number of prospects. Okay, so we have completed our funnel. We had one half of the funnel, we got the other half of it, the mirror image of it, just by negating that number, negative number of prospects. Job done. So that is a very smooth funnel that we have got. You can go ahead and hide these headers. Okay, to hide the header, you can just go and deselect show header from here by clicking on the header, or you can go to the pill and you can just say don't show the header by deselecting this option. Okay, axis also is not required in this case. We can just go ahead and remove the axis by deselecting show header. And little bit of formatting you can do. All these custom charts that we create, they will require a little bit of formatting to be done. Zero lines, you can make them none. Column grid lines, maybe we'll make them none. Okay, so the chart looks a little better. I think that should do it. Okay, and now it comes the part where we have to label it. And we know that for every green pill that is there, that is used on the chart, which means every measure that is used on the chart, every continuous field that is used on the chart, we get an entry on the marks card. So to label this side of the funnel chart, I'll have to click and select negative number of prospects. So you can see negative number of prospects here on the marks card. I'll take phase to the label shelf there. Okay, and for positive number of prospects, so I've selected that, and you can see automatically on the marks card also that gets selected. I will take number of prospects and label it. Now for some sort of consistency with the labeling, you can manipulate the label. Okay, you can just check the alignment. Maybe we'll make it all left aligned and center it. Okay, similarly for negative number of prospects also, on the label shelf, I will adjust the alignment, make it right aligned, and on the vertical alignment, I'll just make it center. This is how much we can do with respect to creating funnel charts in Tableau. You can also, like you suggested, you can also take negative number of prospects and then maybe create a dual axis possible. That will also give you a chart like this. But once you say dual axis, this is what you get. You can again, of course, go and change the color and make it look proper. Dual axis also possible. If the placement varies, then you'll have to do dual axis. But getting the negative number of prospects is the critical thing here. To get the symmetrical half, you need to create that calculated field with negative number of prospects. And then, depending on where you place it, it might take more than one step to ultimately create the chart. If you place it as the first pill, then it will automatically take the shape. If you place it as the second pill, then you will have to do dual axis so that you merge the two of them together. So that's about funnel charts. Let that stay. We'll go ahead and create another chart in Tableau. The next type of chart we will look at is donut chart. Now a very, very famous and popular chart, but again, we don't have a direct method of creating a donut chart in Tableau, clearly, but we have a chart which can be manipulated to convert it to a donut chart, right? We have pie chart. Yeah, you need a measure which you're trying to show, and of course the phase, the dimension which will break down that measure into different phases. We talked that funnel charts are created when you want to show how the data is moving, how the prospects are moving through different phases in a cycle, right? So definitely you need a dimension which is going to contain the different stages or phases, and then how the prospects are moving through each stage. So one measure, one dimension mandate. It's what donut charts will look like. Clearly, when you look at the donut chart, you can tell that it is basically nothing but a pie chart with a circle in the middle. Okay, so basically it's like a pie chart. So in Tableau, we know we can create a pie chart. You have to just manipulate that pie chart to get your donut chart. So I'm using sample superstore data for this example. There are many methods of doing it. People do it in different ways, different approaches, but I will give you the simplest approach for creating a donut chart in Tableau. Okay, first of all, create one calculated field. Just name it constant and put a number 0 in it. Any number. It's just a constant number that you're putting. I'm going to put 0. You can put any value. Usually people try to take a measure and then create a donut chart. Like they try to make use of number of records or some other measure. Don't do it, because it'll lead to a lot of unnecessary calculations in Tableau, because it has to aggregate the data. We know that in Tableau, measures are always aggregated based on their default aggregation property. Okay. Every measure, depending on the type of data it holds, Tableau will set up a default aggregation property for it, and therefore measures are always aggregated in Tableau. So instead of doing that, you can just create one constant field, okay, a field which you can name constant and put a number in it. And now you can use this value in there to create your donut chart. Okay, let's take constant field and place it 2 times on the row shelf. Why I need 2 times is because first I need pi, and then I need a circle, which later on I will combine the pi with the circle by doing a dual axis. So that is why we need to take it twice onto the row shelf. 2 entries we will need. Now you can just go ahead and create a dual axis chart. So it will give you something like this. On the all tab, you can see that we have a circle. Now I want to change both of them to pies. First, I'll just convert both of them to pies. So either you convert both of them to pies, or you can keep one as a circle, other as a pie. It doesn't matter. Here I'm going to change the mark type to pie. Let us just say entire view, so it comes in the center. Now here again, I don't need the, we'll do one thing. Let us say standard, expand it, increase the size. Control Shift B is this thing. You can just increase the size and then maybe center it. Now here we have the zero line, okay, which is not necessary. We'll format the lines later on. Right now I have this. Now on the first sum of constant, what I will do is I'll increase the size of it significantly, and then I have to tell Tableau how to break down, how to slice the pie. So here is your small circle and here is your big circle. So maybe I can slightly reduce. Looks better now. Okay. So here I have to tell Tableau how to slice it. Maybe I want to slice it based on region. I'll take it to the color shelf. So I have my pie sliced up based on different regions, and now you have to put the measure, of course, which is going to control the angle in it. Correct. So let us say I'm trying to look at the profit, so I'll take profit to the size shelf. So I have whatever is the profit for central region, profit for east region, profit for south region, and profit of west region. Now this pie that we have, the second one, right, it's corresponding to second sum of constant, has to be edited again. So let's go to second sum of constant, change the color to white. Now it looks more like a donut chart, which you can label, of course. So on the first sum of constant, I will just take region to the label shelf. I'm labeling it with the name of the region, and also profit to the label shelf. Okay, so I'm looking at the actual profits. Let us say you don't want to look at actual profits, you just want to see the percentage of profits. Then you can go to the sum of profit pill, which is there on the text shelf, not the size shelf. Okay, on the text shelf, because we're trying to edit the text here. We're trying to edit the label, convert that label to show percentages. So go to the sum of profit pill on the text shelf and apply a quick table calculation to it, which is percent of total. So it will automatically show you your sum of profits in percentages. Okay, so I have my percentages there. And now you can go to the second sum of constant, take profit and put it on the label shelf. This is the overall profit. Okay, this is the overall profit, and this is how the profit is broken down across different regions. And this zero line, you can get rid of it by going to format lines and make the zero line as none. Another thing is headers are not required here, so deselect that option, show header. That's your rows. Maybe grid lines, I can make it none, so I don't get that grid line for the row. Right, now it looks better. Okay, simple way of creating a a donut chart. First of all, you need to have a pie chart, and then you superimpose the circle on top of it. So this may or may not be a pie. Even if this is a circle, it'll work. It's just that if it's a circle, your label moves here. Move that label back. So select the label. It's not allowing me to. You can actually select the label and move it around, or just check the alignment of it. Make it in the center. Okay, alignment to the center. So this could be a constant. It could be a circle, or it could be a pie. It doesn't matter. But the first constant has to be a pie, because that is where your donut is getting built. So label, you can probably edit the label here a little. Okay, this is sum of profit. Maybe you can say overall profit and have this in the next line. Actual profit rate, you can probably have it in a different color and make it bold. So overall profit, and then how it is across different regions. You have an option to, okay, I think we can leave it there. So any questions on donut charts? Now on the tooltip, you're unnecessarily getting constant. Just one more point. You're unnecessarily getting constant 0 on the tooltip, which is actually not necessary. So you can edit the tooltip also. Here, from all the tooltips, I want to remove constant from this tooltip as well as this tooltip, right? From both the charts. So I can go to all, go to tooltip, and just remove constant from them. So now it looks fine. And even that percent of total profit along table across, that also can be slightly rephrased. You can just say percent of total profit, because how is it getting computed? Table across, table down, that the end user will not really care or even understand. So you can just leave it as percent of total profit, region, and the actual profit. Because directly there is no way. Even you can check the alignment here, but it will not allow you to have it inside the pie. That's the problem with pie. You have to just select and move it. Something, and you can also get rid of the decimal places if you think it's not so significant. You can format it. You can go to the sum of profit or you can just format from anywhere. You reach the formatting pane from anywhere, and here select the field that you're trying to format. Percent of total sum of profit is what I want to format, and the display is what I want to change. It is showing percentages with 2 decimal places. You can just reduce that to 0 decimal places. So you'll get a rounded off figure. So that's about donut charts, how we can create them. Very simple chart. So we're done with funnel chart and donut chart. Let's go ahead and look at waterfall charts, how waterfall chart is created in Tableau. Before that, let us just look at a few images. So this is what waterfall charts will look like. You will be able to see that flow kind of happening. These are all examples of waterfall charts. So again, there is no direct method of creating a waterfall chart in Tableau. However, we can manipulate Gantt chart and try to convert it into a waterfall chart. How do we do it is what we will see now in an example. Even before that, of course, when would you like to create a waterfall chart? Basically, let us say I am interested in looking at the sales across different subcategories. Or let me take profits. It has both positive and negative values. Profits across different subcategories. So the client, let us say my client has a very simple requirement. They would like to look at the profits across different subcategories. This is sufficient. This is a very nice chart which is talking about the profits across different subcategories. Job done. We can go ahead deliver this chart. But sometimes the client might insist on a much better looking chart like a waterfall chart. Okay, waterfall charts mainly they are created when you have a dimension, and it basically shows the relationship between the dimension and the measure. How are the members in that dimension contributing towards the overall measure? Are they contributing positively? Like here, we have accessories, art, appliances, art, binders, which are all contributing positively towards the profit of Superstore, right? So it's all positive. But they are also they're also members, dimension members, like bookcases, you have supplies and tables which are contributing negatively towards that measure. So they are going to pull down your overall profit. If these subcategories are increasing the profit, these subcategories are basically pulling down the profit. They're going to overall profit will get impacted. It'll reduce because of the negative contribution coming from these subcategories. So whenever you want to see or you want to show the relationship of each dimension measure against the measure, how is that member contributing to the overall total? Is it contributing positively or is it contributing negatively? Then you can go ahead represent that data in a waterfall chart format. But the first and the foremost thing that we have to remember while creating waterfall chart is not directly created on the raw values that we have. Waterfall chart always shows the running total of a measure. Usually we go with measure which has both positive and negative values over a dimension. So waterfall chart will show you the running total, okay, running total of a measure over the dimension member. Now running total means it's a cumulative view, right? It just adds up. Everything keeps getting added up. You're all familiar with running total, right? Okay, running total. Let us say I have data for a few months. Okay, January, February, March, April, May, June, so on and so forth. Okay. And let us say I'm looking at some statistics, some profit values of this of different months. Okay, let us say I made a profit of $10 here, $20 in this month, $15 in this month, and suddenly my business went into losses and gave me a negative profit, which is a loss of $10, and then I cooped up $20, then maybe there was a minus $5. Okay, so when these are the profits. Assume. Now, running total means it is just cumulative view of your data. So if I were to plot this on the chart, how would I plot it? My first data point will be 10 itself, because that is the first data point, nothing there to add up. This is basically running sum. Running total is nothing but running sum. The second data point will be the summation of these two values. So 10 plus 20. The next data point I will put on the chart will be 30. Because it is running total, it is nothing but it is a cumulative view. It keeps adding up things till that point of time, from the beginning till that instance. Now here the next data point will be 10 plus 20 plus 15, which will be 45. Here the next data point will be the summation of these four values, so it is going to be 35, because we have added a negative number, 45 plus minus 10, which will give us 35. And here the next data point that we will have to plot would be summation of all the values till that point, so it is going to be 35 plus 20, 55. Here it is going to be summation of all the 6 values. It's going to be 50. Okay, that is running total or running sum. In Tableau, you can get running sum, you can perform running average, you can get running minimum and running maximum. So running average would be what? Initially it's going, suppose I take running average, it is just going to be 10 here. Here the running average will be 10 plus 20 divided by 2. So I'll get 15 as the next data point. Here it is going to be summation of 3 data points divided by 3 because it's simply taking the average. So it's still going to be 8.75. Okay, when I take all these values, the average there is 11 and average of all these 5 values is 8.3. So you can compute running sum in Tableau, you can compute running average. Similarly, you can have running minimum and running maximum. These are the 4 things that we can do. Running minimum means here, because we have a single value, it's 10. Here it will compare the two values, minimum of it is 10, so it's going to remain 10. Here still 10, it will become minus 10. I have 4 observations, I have to get the minimum of these 4, so it's going to be minus 10. Similarly, maximum, you will look at the maximum value and you will take the maximum value. Here it's going to be 20, here it is going to remain 20, so on and so forth. Okay, so how do we get running total in Tableau? This is the concept of running total. Running total means it's just you just add up things. Now, how do we get running total in Tableau? Is you just have to apply a quick table calculation called as running total. These are inbuilt calculations which we have in Tableau, for which you don't have to write a formula as such. They are all available readily. Okay. Now I have profit, but I know that waterfall chart is built on running total. So I have started with the basic view to create my waterfall chart where I'm taking profit across different subcategories. And now I have to change that measure, which is profit in this case, to running total. So to convert that, I just have to go to sum of profit bill, go to the quick table option on the drop down menu and select running total, the first quick table calculation that we have. Once you do that, you get running total. So this is the profit of accessories. When it comes to appliances, how did we plot this bar? It is accessories plus appliances. Let me recreate that chart. Okay, so let's turn on the mark labels. This is 41,000 and this is 18,000. So when you sum up 41,900, 18,100, you get 60,075. So this is accessories, this is accessories plus appliances, and this is accessories plus appliances plus art, so on and so forth. Okay, and you can see there is a fall here, there's a decline because bookcases is negative, right? It gives us losses by around 3,000. So your profit is coming and then there's a steady increase. Here it will go down, supplies is into losses. Further it goes down because tables gives significant loss. Okay, step 1 to create your waterfall chart is show the measure based on the dimension, break it down based on the dimension, show it, and then waterfall chart is created on running total. So you have to apply a quick table calculation there called as running total. But just as additional information, you can also edit the table calculation once you apply it, and edit table calculation will give you the option of selecting what type of aggregation you want to apply. As I told you, a running calculation can have running sum. Right now we are doing running sum. You can do running average, running minimum, running maximum. So from where do you access the features of a running calculation? How do you edit it? Is from here. But waterfall chart means we will stick with running sum. Okay, so we will not edit anything there. Now second step is to convert this into a Gantt chart. So you have to change the mark type from bar to Gantt. Directly again, you cannot go and create a Gantt chart from the show me panel, because to create a Gantt chart you need a date, and here I don't have the date on the view, so I cannot do it from here. I will convert this to a Gantt chart by changing the mark type to Gantt bar. Once I do that, there is a bar indicating the data point. Each data point here is nothing but a mark. The mark that we are using is a Gantt bar, so you can see the mark and you can see what is the data it's representing. So there's a fall here, this is rise. Okay, we have the tip of the bar kind of. That is a Gantt bar. Now the challenge is to size the Gantt bar. How do you provide size to the Gantt bar that you have placed there? If I directly take profit and put it on the size shelf, okay, I'm sizing the Gantt bar, then what we get is not a waterfall chart. It's all haphazard. So here it's a little confusing, a little tricky to understand. Just what we need to focus here is whenever we are creating a waterfall in Tableau waterfall chart, first thing is we have to do it on running total. We have done the running total. Second step is to convert that to a Gantt bar. Third step is to provide a size for your Gantt bar. How do you size the Gantt bar is tricky. Okay, the thing is positive bars. No, actually what is the profit of appliances is 41,900, around 50K. So that is my Gantt bar. That line is my Gantt bar. And then I provided a sizing for the Gantt bar by putting profit only on the size shelf. So what is happening from the Gantt bar? It is going upwards by another 50,000. Right, 41,000, another 45,000, 41,000, which is coming up to around 82,000 here on the axis. But that is not true. Profit of accessories is not 82,000, it is 41,000, which is where I have my Gantt bar. Correct? So sizing of the Gantt bar should be in the other way, the opposite direction. Positive values measures the dimension contributing positively, positive values basically should grow in the downward direction. So my bar should grow in this direction if it is positive. Positive values should grow in downward direction, and negatives, bookcases, okay, this is the bar for bookcases which has gone down. It should be the other way around. Negative values should grow in the upward direction. So this is the Gantt bar for tables, right? It has to go in the upward direction. That is the, so I need to have bar facing it. So how do we do this now? How can I make them go in the opposite direction? Positive values should grow in the negative direction. Negative values should grow in the upward direction. So just like your funnel chart, you're trying to do the opposite of what is happening, right? So we will create a calculated field on profit and we will call it negative profit. Prefix your profit. So basically we are talking about how do we size the Gantt bars. We have the Gantt bars here. Okay, let me just summarize. To create a waterfall chart, step one, you need to have a measure broken down at dimension level of detail. Dimension could be anything. It could be a date. It could be any dimension. Usually when you have the measure contributing, when you have a dimension contributing both positively and negatively, you have ups and downs. That is when we can represent the data in a waterfall chart and it comes out beautifully well. Step one to create a waterfall chart is to show the measure across different dimension members. And then it will be, waterfall chart is always created on running total. So I have applied the quick table calculation called as running total on this and I have the running total. Step 3 was to convert the chart type to a Gantt bar. So I've selected the mark type as Gantt bar. So far it is clear. Next thing is to provide a sizing for these Gantt bars. To size the Gantt bars, if I directly take profit and put it on the size shelf, then I don't really get that proper waterfall shape. Okay. And moreover, the information that it is giving me is slightly going to confuse the end user because this is the Gantt bar. 41,000 is the profit of accessories. And from here, it's going up by another 41,000 because that is the profit. And you see, overall, it appears as if the profit of accessories is 82,000 on the axis if you observe. Okay, so sizing of the Gantt bar should always be in the opposite direction of its value. If it is positive, then it should grow in the downward direction. If it is negative, then it has to grow in the upward direction. I basically need to get again the mirror image of the bar to size it, just like in your funnel chart. So what we will do is to achieve this, where positive values should have the bar in the downward direction and negative contribution, the bar has to go in the upward direction. To achieve this, we have to create a calculated field. Okay, so that is where I created a calculated field, named it negative profit. Okay, and this is basically nothing but your profit, which you will prefix with a minus sign. Okay, simple calculated field, profit prefix with a negative minus sign. We are negating the profit. Now we will use this negative profit. Let me drag this out. I'll use this negative profit to size the Gantt bars. So here you have a proper waterfall chart. You can feel it. You can visually understand that it is a waterfall chart. You can also color code your visualization. You can take profit to the color shelf and you can color code it. Okay, because it is a measure which is controlling the color. There is a continuous gradient. You can edit the colors, use whatever color you want. The default color that is being used in version 10, prior to version 10 until 9.3, the default color for a measure which has both positive and negative values used to be red and green. Negative in red and green for positive values. But now with version 10 they have changed it to orange and blue. You can change that. If you want red and green diverging itself, you can select, use a step color, maybe use only 2 steps instead of having 5 steps. By default, it is always centered around 0. You can check that with the advanced option that you have. It is centered around 0. From 0, you have negative values and positive values in one color. Okay, you can center it around some other value if you wish to. Here, I'm going to leave it as 0. So I have negative in red, and I have all the positive values in green. Now, if you want to add more details to this chart, this is sufficient actually. This is my waterfall chart. I'm doing more than good here. But if you want to also show the Gantt bar and you want to really show that, okay, this is the bar and positive values are going downwards, this is the bar and negative values are going upwards. You also want to give that kind of information visually. You can do it by creating a dual axis chart. So take profit. Now, all these steps are not always mandatory, what I'm showing now from now on. If you want, you can do it. You take that profit and then, of course, convert that
Wait,
to
ఏదో
apply a quick table
మాట్లాడు.
calculation running total on top of it. Okay. And now on the second profit that you have, on the second profit, just remove the sizing. And you might want to remove it from the color shelf also and use a nice black color so that it comes out clearly. Increase the size so it expands, it becomes wide. And now you just have to merge these two. For merging, you can go ahead and create a dual axis chart. There we have it. Now, two axes is not required. Synchronize the axis. Always it is a ground rule. Whenever you're creating dual axis chart, whether or not necessary, synchronize the axis and then let us hide the header. Okay. So I can further increase the size here of this bar. I think that's it. Maximum it goes to. So you can see this is the Gantt and it is going downwards. This is the Gantt where it started and it's going upwards. Now to convert it into a, you might want to add totals also. You can say show row grand totals. So you will get the overall total there. Overall total and what is the contribution of each and every dimension member towards the overall total. That kind of information is what waterfall chart gives. Clear on waterfall charts how they are created? This is conveying the exact same information as this. Visually this looks better. So that would be waterfall chart. Now we've done only 3 charts. So let's move on and look at another chart, the other worksheet. So the next chart that we'll be looking at is, let us look at a simple chart because we'll look at something called as butterfly charts. We'll have one more session for custom charts, maybe next week or so, where we will look at some more charts, okay? Because there are a lot of charts we can create. 5 charts was what I was thinking I'll cover. Let's cover 4 charts in this session and we'll have 4 or 5 more charts in the next session. Putting statistical control chart on hold, I'll take you to something called as butterfly chart. Okay, by the look of it, it looks like a butterfly. You have values. These charts like this are called as butterfly charts. They are also called as diverging bar charts because you have, they're kind of diverging, right? You have bars going in this direction and you have bars going in the other direction. So it's like they're diverging from the center point. Okay, so they are also called as diverging bar charts. Another name given to them is tornado charts. They are also called as tornado charts. So if you want to, whether the client asks for a diverging bar chart or a butterfly chart or tornado chart, this is what so this is the kind of chart that we have to create. Now let's go ahead and try to create this chart. A butterfly chart is something that will show you the comparison of two associated measures. For instance, here I have taken coffee chain and I'm looking at budget profit versus profit. So these are the bars that are talking about budget profit. What was the target set for each of the states where coffee chain business is there? What is the target set? What was budgeted for? And after the business was executed, what was accomplished? Actual profit that was earned by the business. Okay. So whenever you have two associated measures like this, okay, where there is some kind of association, then you can go and represent them. So this is what I planned for. This is what I achieved. Budget profit versus actual profit. They allow you to display the bars side by side on either side of the axis. This becomes your axis, and on either side of the axis, you can show them. Okay, so that is the reason why it's called as a diverging bar chart. You have the axis showing you the actual dimension values. Okay, and then for each state, I know what was planned for and what was actually achieved. Okay, so how do we create this chart is what we will look at now. So you can take the, now I want to look at the profit and profit comparison for different states. So I'll take state to the row shelf because each state has to appear as a row, align itself along the y-axis. So each state has to appear as a row. I have state on the row shelf. Simple. Now I want to look at the profit as well as the budget profit. So on the left hand side of the state, I want budget profit. On the right hand side of it, I want the actual profit. So I'll take budget profit first, put it on the column shelf. Then I'll take profit. put it next to it. So I have my budget profit, I have my profit, and I have the states across um, the states that we have these profits and budget profit, whatever. Now, what I need is something in the middle. Okay, I need something in the middle, and I want to put the names of the states in the middle rather than having the header here. I want the names of the states in the middle. Okay, that is one thing I need to achieve. Even before that, I want the orientation of these bars to change. These bars, the indentation should change. They have to start here and they move in the other direction. They have to go in the left direction. Okay, so you just select the axis, double click on the axis and choose reverse. So I'm going to reverse the scale of the axis. So you're already getting that diverging chart feel or the tornado chart feel just by reversing the axis. But the only thing left out here is to move this header or move the names of the states to the middle rather than having it here and then having the bar. Okay, so the last step that is left out for us is to move the headers to the middle, and then you have the bars diverging from the names of the headers rather than from the center of the axis here, from the zero on the axis. Okay, so for this we will have to create a calculated field. I'm going to call it as zero axis. Okay, and I'll just put a number 0 in there. Okay, because I already created it, so I'm getting the error. It says that the name is taken. Zero axis already exists, so I'll just show you the field. Okay, zero axis with the number 0 on it. Now I need to move the names of these states to the middle, right? I have budget profit, and then I want the names of the states followed by profit. So basically I have to move my zero axis in the middle here between budget profit and sum of profit. So I'll take zero axis, move it to the center. Fine, so I have my center and I have the budget profit and sum of profit. Now, showing the header for state is not necessary because I'm going to move them here anyways. So this is not necessary. I can just go ahead and deselect the option, show header, so the header will be gone. On zero axis, here, it is coming up as a bar if you see. It's a tiny bar because it is 0, the width is very less. So I don't want a bar. I want it to be text. So once I say text, it will give me ABC, the mark type for text. Now I will take the name of the state and put it on the text shelf. So I have the names of different states there. Okay, clearly there is that 0 line, okay, which we will get rid of in a moment. We can get rid of the axes altogether. You can just go ahead and deselect show header. So all the axes will be gone. Little bit of formatting required here. So you can go to format lines again. And on the sheet, I want to remove the 0 lines. So you see that 0 line is gone. And also maybe axis tick marks, and okay, I removed the axis, so axis tick marks will not really trouble us anymore, but it's okay. To be on safe side, you can see a none. On the columns front, I will remove the grid lines. You can see those column grid lines, right? Light gray color. So you can remove the grid lines and make it none. And you can close the formatting pane to return to the data pane. So I think this is it. We have our tornado charts. You can color the tornado charts, the bars, depending on the value. So budget profit may be depending on budget profit value. So I'll just control click and drag it to the color shelf. So I have one color scale here, and I can go to profit and get control click and drag profit to the color shelf here. So these are also colored accordingly. You might want to use different shades of color for the different charts or use the same color sequence for them. That's up to you. Okay, so we have our diverging bar charts, also known as butterfly charts or also known as tornado charts. Simple, you just put the two measures and change the orientation here, use the reversed scale, and then because the values have to come in the middle, because I want the names of the dimension members to be in the middle, I have created one more placeholder for them, and then I have placed the names there on the text shelf of that placeholder, which I called as zero axis. Cleaning up and formatting, just like any custom chart you create in Tableau, you definitely will have to do a little bit of cleaning, like removing the grid lines, removing the 0 lines. That you can do. Now labeling it is important. Correct. Thank you for reminding me. No, we cannot really leave the chart here. You need to label it. Budget profit has to be labeled with budget profit value. So you can go to budget profit and turn on the mark labels here. So you can see the values, actual values. Similarly, you can go to the profit marks card and turn on the labels there also. So you have the labeling. So you also are looking at the actual values. Okay. So that's about how we create butterfly charts. Any questions on what we have discussed today? We have discussed about 4 different types of charts. We have seen funnel chart, donut chart, waterfall chart, and butterfly chart. We will have one more webinar on custom charts where we will go ahead and look at statistical control charts, panel charts, You can we will I think look at dumbbell charts and whatever I can include in that session. All right. So thank you all so much.